Hey guys, welcome back to Snack Time. My name is Ben, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a relatively new project called Quickdrop. So what is Quickdrop? Quickdrop is basically an accountless way for you to share files, and one that you can host on your own server, and allows you to share files that are encrypted without entrusting them to a third party, says it's something that you run on your server. So let's jump in and let me show you the project real quick. So there's not really a ton to this project. Basically, when you go to the web page, you are presented with a place for you to upload a file, and you can specify the maximum size and the settings that I'll show you here in a second. But basically, let's say that I wanted to upload a file of a picture that I have. Let's go ahead and just upload this one. I can provide it a description. I can say keep indefinitely. And what you want to do is when you do select keep indefinitely, you want to also add a password, because if you don't specify a password, it has no way to verify that you are the owner of this file. So the only way for that file to ever go away is if the admin deletes it for you. Hide from file list. Sure. No, actually, I'm gonna leave that off. And let's give it a password. And when we upload, it'll upload it, it'll encrypt it, and now it's asking us for a password to view it. You can see our URL is at the top of the screen here. Let's zoom in so you can see that. That's our URL for our file. I'm going to enter our password. And once we enter our password, we can see our file. We can generate a QR code that's right here. You can just give that out to somebody if you want to. You can just save that image or text it to them. You have your link as well. And you have the option of unchecking it if you don't want to keep it indefinitely. You can also delete it and just download it. You also have a share button that will essentially blow up the QR code and also give you a quick, easy way to copy the link. So that's pretty much about it. Let's delete this file. And let's go back to our Quickdrop and let's upload another file. And let's just say we're going to do this dude right here and just another pic. And it doesn't have to be a picture file. It can be pretty much any file that you want, really. And so if we do one without a password, it's just going to give us the URL. It's going to give us a way to copy the link and also look at the QR code. We can download the file. We can renew file lifetime. So this one is kept for 30 days. But if we want to, we can renew it and it will keep on popping in. I guess it'll keep on renewing for 30 days. Let's see, so I guess that's the extent of how long I can renew it. I believe that is also something that you can change in the settings under the admin panel here. Speaking of which, let's jump into the admin panel. So if we go to admin, you'll notice that it's just asking us for a password. Put that in. And once we are under our admin panel, we have a couple of options. We can look at the files that have been uploaded to our server. We can view them. We can look at the history. So if somebody has downloaded them, it'll show us IP address and also user agent. We can download the file ourselves, delete it, or view, which view takes us back to that window that you usually see when you upload a file. But going back, we can change the settings. Yep, we can check this. We can say hide that file. Sure, that's fine. And we can also do one of the most important things is to delete. So you'll notice when we do our setup that there are surprisingly few environment like variables that we can specify, and that's because all the configuration for Quickdrop is done within the admin panel, which is really nice, I think. So we click on the admin dashboard again, and we go under settings at the top. Here's our settings. So we have the ability to specify the size maximum. So maybe you don't want to fill up your server with a bunch of files. We can drop this down to maybe like 50 megs. We can specify the default lifetime. This is the maximum that they'll be able to put a file on there. So you can go like, let's say 120. And then we also have our path. The path is something that we will define in Docker by specifying the volume. But if you wanted to change that, you could. And then a cron job for deletion, we probably don't need to mess with that too much. And enable password protection. We can basically, I think what this will do is allow us to restrict access to our platform, so you can't upload anything without actually providing it. Yeah, show you that. So we have to provide our password, and that protects your site from just anybody using it. So if you wanted to give it to only friends and family, or maybe somebody on your company, if you just wanted to host that. All right, so you'll see at the top here, we have our new file size specified, and just another warning: files are deleted after 120 days if the option indefinite upload is not selected. So pretty easy, right? Well, the installation is actually just as easy. I'm going to walk you through that. And for this installation, we are going to be using Docker, surprised. We're going to be using Portainer, and we're also going to be using Nginx Proxy Manager. But I'm going to take you through the different steps. So if you did not want to publish this on the web, maybe you just wanted to use Nginx, maybe you wanted to use Cloudflare, you'll have that option too. So let's jump over to the installation of this cool little open source project. Let's start off at Google, and we're just going to do a quick search for Quickdrop GitHub. All right, so we're not going to pick the first one. This is a different project. We are going to go with Roastslav, and we're going to click on his project. All right, so if you land here and you're seeing this, then you're in the right spot. I'll also put the link down below for you. But if you scroll down, you're going to be presented with a couple of different ways to do the installation. I think probably the easier way is to use our Docker server. And you look right here, this one gives you all the commands that you would need to deploy this if you're using the command line. We're going to take this and modify it just a little bit so that you can use it with Portainer. Very easy to do. Let's start off by taking a look at this command. So it starts off with a Docker command. We're going to be running it in daemon mode. We're going to be having these ports open, these 8080 to 8080, and then this is the image. And if you want to have a little bit of persistent volumes, you'll be using this one down here. So let's do that. I'm going to use this guy right here, but I'm going to set this up manually in Portainer. You're more than welcome just to run this command, but if you don't want any persistent storage at all, you can use this one and it'll just run it as its defaults. I personally like to control a little bit of the storage. So let's start off with Portainer, and we're going to flip-flop back and forth a little bit between this screen and the other one. So if we go to Portainer, the first thing that I want to do is, since this is just a Docker command and not a stack, that means it's not going to create our network for us automatically. So let's go under network. Let's go to add network at the top. All right, so let's give it a name. We're just going to call it Quickdrop. And I'm going to paste my subnet, but I'm going to change this 29 to a 30. And I'm going to change this 16 to a 24 to kind of shrink the subnet a little bit, because I don't need such a large range of IP addresses. After this, we're going to create the network. Oh, all right, our network is created. Now let's go back and let's take a look and see what else we need. So we're going to need some volumes set up, and they're going to go to this path. So what we're going to need is we're going to need a database volume, a log volume, and a files volume. All right, so let's hop on over and let's create those. We go to volumes, and let's go to add volume. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create one. I'm going to call it Quickdrop -db. I'm going to copy this as I'm going to use it with the other ones. Hit create. All right, and let's do our next volume. And let's do our log. All right, and lastly, do our files. This will just allow us to have better control over the volumes and the network so that we know where everything's going and it can be easily managed in Portainer. All right, so let's go to containers and let's create our Quickdrop container. Once we're here, let's go to add container. All right, and I'm going to give this name, this container a name. I'm just going to call it Quickdrop. Easy enough. I do need my image, which is back over here on my GitHub. So my image is going to be, you can copy it from here. It's probably going to be our easiest bet. Let's just copy this over here. So we're going to copy this guy. So you can see that. We're going to copy from the very beginning of the username all the way to the end of the version number. We're going to paste that in here. Let's hop back over real quick. I want to point out one thing. The ports right here, we're not going to open them because we're going to go through Nginx so that we can add a security certificate to our Quickdrop. But if you are keeping this solely inside of your network, or you're using some other different program to give access, like perhaps Cloudflare, then you can open up these ports. But we're not going to, but it is an option. I'm going to show you where that option is, just in case you need it. Right here, you see where it says map additional ports. You can check this box, but what that does is it randomly assigns a port for you to connect to based off of the demands of the machine, but that port changes every time you restart it. So we don't really want to do that. What we'd want to do is map an additional port, and we would just say 8080 to 8080. You got on the left hand side, you have your host, which that's what's going to be up at your address bar at the top here. And on the right hand side is your container. That's the port it's expecting to have traffic come in on. So we don't want to disappoint it. But for now, we're going to kill this off because we don't need to open up a port for something that we're going to be using Nginx for. All right, so now where were we? Okay, cool. I remember volumes. All right, so we need to set up some custom mapped volumes down here. So I'm going to go back to my GitHub so I know exactly what I'm doing. So if I look right here, it's expecting the DB. This is just a path that might be on your Linux server. We've already established that. We just need to make sure that this path goes to our DB volume. So I'm going to copy this guy. I'm going to add an additional volume. I'm going to paste my path there. And now it's asking me to select a volume, and I've already established those. So I'm going to click on Quickdrop-DB. And I want it to be writable. Okay. And now we just need to do the same thing for those other two volumes. So hang with me here. Let's go ahead and add one and then add another. We're going to copy our app log and let's go back to Portainer. Drop that in there. Look for our Quickdrop log. Right. And one more. -app files. Paste. Quickdrop files. Okay, we've established our volumes. Pretty easy. All right, so next up, we have to make sure it's going to be joining the right network. So let's go under network. And if I make myself just a little bit smaller, you can see this. I'm going to drop this down and I'm going to make sure that I select my Quickdrop network. Cool. I don't have to specify anything else in here. Like I said before, there's really no environment variables to specify. You can look under the restart policy and make sure this maybe says unless stopped. That means that it will always restart with the machine unless you stop it first. All right, with that all said and done, I think we're ready to go. Let's go ahead and deploy our container. Quick and easy for Quickdrop. Nice. All right, so I think we're good. Let's check out our logs. Not too much there. Nothing interesting to see there. That's fine. All right, okay, that's cool. All right, so it's starting up. It's doing its thing. Excellent. So I think we're good to go. While this runs in the background, let's set up our subdomain and also the Nginx proxy manager. So I'm going to be using Namecheap for this, but feel free to use whatever you want. Let's go to add record, and then let's create ourselves an A record. I'm just going to call it something like Quickdrop. So it'll be quickdrop.sinhow.com. I want to make sure this is going to the external IP address of my server. And now let's just hit save changes. Easy. All right, before we jump into Nginx Proxy Manager, let's make sure our Nginx Proxy Manager container is joined to the same network as our Quickdrop. So if we go under Quickdrop, if we go under Nginx app, yep. And we scroll all the way to the bottom, let's look to see what networks it's joined. It's joined to its own network and Portainer. Let's see what networks we have. All right, so we have a couple of them. Let's click on Quickdrop and let's join that network. Now our Nginx Proxy Manager container can talk to our Quickdrop container, but none of the other containers that are in there can see or talk to my Quickdrop. And that goes the other way too. And that's just a little bit more secure. I like separating everything out in case one container somehow becomes vulnerable. It doesn't mean that it's automatically going to lead to a complete and total compromise of my server. All right, so now that we have that done, it's joined, let's go over to our Nginx Proxy Manager. And let's add ourselves a proxy host. I'm going to specify the subdomain that I set up just a little bit ago, quickdrop.sinhow.com. Right, now it's asking me for the scheme. Is it HTTP or HTTPS? I'm pretty sure it's HTTP. And asking me for a host name or IP address. If we look back at our Portainer, we can find that out pretty quickly. It's just Quickdrop. Let's copy this, go back to Nginx, and let's paste it here. And now it's asking me for what port that I wanted to for my traffic to. And if you remember, everything was 8080 to 8080, and that's what we want to specify here. If you need a hint or just kind of want to make sure that you're specifying the right port, there's nothing wrong with that. You would basically just come back here and look under the command, and we can see that 8080, that's the port that we're expecting to see traffic on. All right, so 8080. I'm going to block common exploits and enable WebSocket support and save. All right, so we have our host set up, which is cool, but it's only HTTP. It is not encrypted yet. Let's make sure that we have that happen. Let's go to edit. Let's go to SSL. And we're going to drop this down and request a new one. We're going to force it. We're going to agree, and we're going to save. All right, and if everything goes well, it'll retrieve our certificate and we will be ready to rock and roll. I think we have gotten everything right so far, just to make sure this does what it's supposed to do. Sweet. Let's Encrypt is active. See that right here. Yep. All right. So we are encrypted. Nice. All right, so let's see if it worked. I'm going to click on Quickdrop. And if everything worked the way that it was supposed to, excellent. our very first screen is going to be asking us to establish an admin password for our admin panel. All right, set. And let's enter our admin password. Okay, we are at our admin panel that I showed you when we first started this video. And now we can go ahead and establish our settings and determine if we want to share this with the world or just maybe a select few. All right, guys, well, that pretty much sums up this video. I hope you found it informative. I hope you enjoy this new project. And if you've made it this far, I would definitely appreciate a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, or if you hated it and you'd prefer me just to make videos about building Legos, then maybe give me a thumbs down and let me know in the comments and I'll get to building. Hope to see you guys next time. Thanks for watching, and you guys take it easy.